Hey guys, Mark Heaps here at Life by Pixels on all social media, and I want to give you guys another production tip this week. That's something I thought maybe more people knew about, but I'm beginning to realize based on the files that we're receiving at work, maybe you don't. So here's a quick tip when you're making tonal adjustments to a graphic asset or a photograph. Really common request here. Here's a photograph stock asset that was sent over by a client, and common request, can you please change the tone of the background? So the plywood area of their interior here, they want that to be darker, okay? So let me show you guys what I think you normally do. You go in here, you make a selection of that area. Here's a mask that I made earlier, okay? Now, inside of here, if you wanted to make a tonal adjustment, you might use curves, levels, brightness and contrast, maybe exposure, a lot of different options. But there's a byproduct that comes from doing that, and I'm gonna show you what I mean. Right now that I'm on the levels adjustment layer, if you want to add an adjustment layer, you do that down here with the pull down for all the adjustment layers. That's how we got levels. But if I grab the low key slider, that's the low end of the histogram. This chart, the histogram, represents all the tonal information in your image. And if I grab that slider and I just slide it in, you'll see that it is in fact darkening the background, okay? That's what we want, except you see what also is happening is it's turning very yellowy orange. The saturation is in fact going up. We're getting more intense color because we're increasing the contrast on the low end of the tonal data. That's what the low key slider is. It's the contrast controller for the low end of the tonal range. If we grabbed the high key, we'd be bringing in high end contrast, okay? But that's for a different discussion. The problem that we have is when we use this technique, whether we're using the low key or the gamma slider, the one in the middle here, okay, what we've done in essence is, yes, darken the background like the client wants, but we've saturated it as well. We don't want that to be orange. We wanted it just to affect the light or the exposure. So often what I see designers doing when I get their files, or photographers, is they'll add a saturation adjustment layer above this one, they'll add the mask to it, and they'll turn down the saturation to try to mimic what they think the wood would have looked like. But you actually don't need to do that. So if I crank this up a lot, okay, you can see it's becoming very, very yellowy orange. Let me turn the levels on and off so you can see the difference. Before, after, okay? Do you guys see how intense that color has become? So yes, we've made it darker, but we've created a problem. And all you have to do to fix it is instead of leaving your adjustment layers for tone left on normal, just switch it to luminosity. What is luminosity? It's just another word for light. It means that the tonal adjustment is looking at the brightness of it and not the saturation, okay? It's a really basic algorithm, but I don't see most people using this. They just leave it on normal all the time. So if you switch that to luminosity, you'll notice now I no longer have that orangey, red, yellow kind of color. Put it back to normal so you can see before. There's all that color that came back. Okay, one more time, back to luminosity. No more saturation. So now as you make adjustments with levels, you see the shadows become more intense, the wood becomes more intense, okay? But what we're not getting as a byproduct is any of that extra color density, any of that saturation that we don't want. So now we've successfully made that plywood darker, but we don't have the problem of extra color. It's a real easy one. I hope you guys can use it. I see it all the time when people send us their files, and it's such a simple fix, and it stops you from adding all those extra layers that you don't need, which can also cause some problems in the fringes of your selections and masks. So there you go. I'm Mark Heaps at Life by Pixels. Follow me on all social media, and as always, I hope you're having a good production week. Talk to you soon.